So foremost, I would like everyone to confirm, is my voice loud and clear for you? Yes, can you please type in the chat box? Can you just please confirm, is my voice loud and clear? Okay, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Kinjal, Sahiba, Subrata. Okay, great. So I'm Dr. Nidhi. A very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to another session of Rapid Revision Round series on your own Biotecnika. Okay, so I'm sure you all liked the all the sessions which have happened so far, where you might have got an insight into what all kind of questions they could be asked from various units and what is the right strategy and approach you can follow to solve those tricky and tough questions. Okay, so today I have come up with a unique, interesting, and scoring unit 10, right? Ecological principles. Now, before I start with the question discussion session, I would like to share few facts about this unit. Okay. Now, see, why I have mentioned this unit is unique because I believe that this unit is a fusion of terminologies from all the various scientific domains, right? You may find terminologies coming from chemistry, geography, botany, zoology, ecology, of course, evolution, genetics, and then general awareness. Right. Now, why I had mentioned interesting? Because definitely this unit is all about life. Okay. The living and the non living organisms, the living organisms and the non living thing. That means the abiotic components surrounding us. And then why scoring? Because this unit may help you to fetch decent marks in part C. You may expect part C questions, right, which could be graph based, diagram based, or figure based. All right. Okay, Subrata. Okay, Antara, Sonali. So, once again, I would like you to welcome all of you in this session. Okay, so let's get closer to nature, right? Let's get started with our session for today. Let's start playing rapid revision round. Okay, and the lifelines are, what are the lifelines? Lifelines are thorough conceptual knowledge and read the question carefully, analyze all the options precisely, and then last but not least, don't hurry, right? You don't need to hurry before selecting the right option. Okay, so I have tried to cover all the important topics from Unit 10 while compiling up these questions. So this is your first question on your screen. Just look at the question carefully. Remember your lifelines. So while you are reading the question, I would like to share another fact based on my experience, right, from the types of questions you could expect from Unit 10. That, Unit 10 is huge. It is made up of 10 subunits, right? It comprises of 10 subunits. But then there are few subunits, right, which are based on the general awareness, which comprise of general topics. Like you may have the pollution, okay, greenhouse effect, ozone depletion. Yes, yeah. Are you all able to look at my screen? Yes. Is the question visible? All right. Okay. Yes. Just let me share the PPT once again. Yeah. So let us share the PPT once again. Meanwhile, once more, I would like you to know what all things Unit 10 is comprising of, and what are the important topics you must emphasize on. Okay. See, now the questions which you will find in today's session and will be discussing now on. So you will find the topics like R and K strategies, okay, survivorship curves, then the age sex pyramids, right? And then the island biogeography, Lotka Volta models. So these all are the important topics, right, which you need to cover. And you will get, you may expect part C questions. Like I have mentioned before, those will be graph based, figure based, diagram based. So in today's session, we will learn that how we can interpret the graphs. Okay. Yes. Durga, this is Unit 10, Ecological Principles. Yes. This is Unit 10, Ecological Principles. All right. Yes, Antara. Yes. Durga, I hope now you all are able to look at the question. Yes. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sometimes technical glitches, they do happen. But now let's get started. Okay, let's start playing our RRR session with all that zeal and excitement. That should be there, right? Right. So see, this is the easiest question, I would say. Okay, so I have kept it foremost so that we can build up some confidence before we go ahead with other tough questions. Okay, so you have to check with the graph and the survivorship curve. Like we had discussed, that we are going to cover these topics, R and K strategies, okay, survivorship curves. Okay, so I can already see some answers are coming. Shrini, Gonu, Subrata Mishra. Okay, so you think this should be option 2. So I hope you are using your lifelines. You know the concept? You have read the question carefully, analyzed all the options precisely. I hope you haven't hurried before selecting the right answer. Okay, great, great. So good to see so many correct answers coming there. So that is why I have mentioned, yes, this is a comparatively easier question. All right. But those who were not able to get it, so let's check with the explanation. Yes, you all are correct. Those who have answered option 2 as the right answer, this is the right one. Okay. Now see how the explanation goes for this question. So here you all must know about the R selected and the K selected strategies. Right now, what are these? These are the life strategies based on the growth and the reproductive behavior of the living organisms. Oh, Shrini, great. Lock kar do. Okay. Lock kar diya. And that's correct. Very good. Right. So we were talking about the R selected, K selected. See, what are the differences? What are the main differences? R selected, these organisms which we place under R selected categories, they do not wait for the stable environment to reproduce. Right? They may survive in the environment which could be variable, which could be unpredictable. All right. So these are mostly the pioneer species. You know about ecological succession? So the pioneer species, they belong to our category. All right. And then the K selected living organisms, the organisms which fall under this category, they will wait for the stable environment to come and only then they are going to reproduce. Okay. Now R selected, they will use up all the resources to just maximize reproduction. Right. So they will be producing huge number of offsprings. Right. And they will be providing least parental care. Right. Least parental care. So the mortality rate that will be higher. Right. And for K dependent or K selected, that is opposite. Population size, it will be variable. It will be fluctuating. Durga, you have mentioned this is not clear. That's what I am explaining. Okay. Don't worry. I'll explain. Right. Why that option second is the right answer. Now, this is one of the important topics, one of the popular topics, which has been often asked in the CSIR exam in one way or the other way. Right. So you must know the difference between R and K selected. Yes. Gonu, can you please change the settings if this is not clear? Yes. Aren't you able to look at the screen? The differences between R selected, K selected? The table which we do have here right on the screen. See, no worries. Let me explain it through the graph only. The graph which has been given in the question. Right? Now see, what has been shown in this graph? There are two curves, right? The solid curve. This is representing what? This is representing R selected. Why? Because we have just discussed R selected individuals, they do not follow the carrying capacity. Right? They can grow and they can expand very fast. Right? So they will be able to grow in the uncolonized areas. Right? And they will not obey the carrying capacity. I hope all of you know about the carrying capacity. Right? environment can sustain any population to a limit. And that is actually followed and obeyed by the K-selected individuals, but not by the R-selected. So what we are looking, R-selected individuals, they will produce huge number of offsprings, right? And this is known as population boom. So they'll fluctuate over the carrying capacity. And that will be subsequently followed by the decline in the number of the offsprings. Right? So we can see that here we do have the population burst. So this is known as the fluctuation, right? So the R selected, their population will be fluctuating around the carrying capacity, unlike the K selected. So the dotted curve is for the K selected. Are we clear with this? I hope we are clear with the graph. Sonali, Gonu, Durga, Ashwini. Yes, are we clear with the graph? Now, let us look at the survivorship curves. See, you can remember this concept like this. R that represents reproductivity. So, R selected individuals, they only believe in maximizing reproduction. Right? Whereas the K selected, K you can remember as constant, right? Although not in terms of the spelling, but in terms of phonics, right? So they are, they grow in the constant environment. Okay. So they will wait for the stable environment to reproduce, right? So they will be spending the energy not in maximizing the reproduction, but in maximizing the survival. Okay. So they will be producing less number of offsprings, but the offsprings will be surviving, right? They will be surviving till end. Yes? Has it been clear, Kinjal, Sahiba, Gonu? Now let us look at the survivorship curve. Right? Now here, survivorship curves, there are three basic types of survivorship curve. Again, one of the popular topics. Right? You will not find even a single CSIR paper where the question has not appeared based on survivorship curve. Right? So we do have three types of survivorship curve, majorly, right? Although there could be some individuals which can have some intermediate pattern, right? Now here, the type 1 curve. The individuals which follow type 1 pattern, they have low death rates during early and the middle life and an increase in death rate among older age groups. Can we see this graph, the blue one? I hope this should be clear. Sonali, Vishal, Subrata, is it clear? Yes, so I hope this should be clear, right? And type 2, the individuals which follow the type 2 curve, they do have a constant mortality rate all over. Now, who belong to type 1 or type 2 or type 3? Yes, do you know? Yes, can you tell me? Yes, Amla, Sonali, Sahiba, Kinjal, yes. Can you tell me any example? The organisms which follow type 1 survivorship curve? Subrata, you have already answered. Okay, but now my question is, if you can tell me any example for type 1, type 2 or type 3. Yes, that's correct. Yes, human, very good. Right, mammals, so large mammals, right? Okay, or higher mammals. So they will be belonging to type 1, right? So as we know, they tend to live long, right? They tend to have long lifespan. That means the individuals, the young individuals, right? They will be surviving till end, right? So definitely, we will not talk about the accidental deaths, right? But on an average, the individuals, they will live till the end, right? Type 2, they will be having a constant mortality rate. Type 3, now most of the R selected individuals, they will belong to this category. Okay, so here invertebrates, insects, many plants, like see, plants or trees, they produce large number of seeds. But how many of those seeds they are going to sprout and grow? Very less, right? But whatever number of seeds they will grow, they will live long, right? So that what is the property for the type 3 survivorship curve. Now, based on this, we'll come back. Okay, we'll use all this explanation to find out the right answer. So through the graph, we have already analyzed that where we are going to find R. So the solid curve that represents R and the dotted curve that represents K. All right, so that means K is equal to A and R is equal to B. And in survivorship curve, where we are going to find R and K. Yes, so this is for K and N, that is for R, right? So this is the reason that option 2 is the right answer. Easy. So through this question, we had revised R and K strategies and the survivorship curve, right? Now let's move to the next question. Now this question is based on the community attributes. Another important concept. Yes. Look at the question carefully. Use the concept, that is our first lifeline. So see, I was talking about the general awareness. Where general awareness comes in unit 10, there are some topics, okay, which are quite general, okay, like pollution, ozone depletion, greenhouse effect. So if you possess an updated sense of general awareness or general knowledge, so you should try over those questions. But if not, then I will always suggest that you should be trying more on the conceptual questions. Why? Because conceptual questions, they are based on the known facts, right? So they will definitely comply to the known facts. Am I right? Yes, Lisa, Subrata, Durga, Antara. Very good. Subrata, I can see you had given example for type 3 survivorship curve. Sahiba, okay. Sonali, all right, good. Good to see. You have already answered. Everyone must try. I'm sure all of you are able to look at the question carefully and the small table which has been given here as part of the question. And I hope you have understood the question well. Vishal Sinha, option 2. All right, now let us check. Is that answer correct? Very good. Well done. Durga, Amla, Kinjal, Subrata, Mahima. Very nice. Okay, so how will go the explanation? This question is based on the species richness, right? Now, this is one of the important community attributes. Species richness, the number of different species in the community, right? But besides species richness, there is another parameter to define species diversity, and that is heterogeneity of the species, right? Which is known by evenness and relative abundance of each species. Now, to know more about this concept, let me share a few graphs here, right, as part of the explanation. Just look at this graph, right? Now, here we have been provided with two communities, community A, community B. Okay, now if I ask you that which of these two communities is having more species diversity, okay, you can simply and quickly answer community A. Why? Because there are more number of species. It's as simple as that. But what about comparing these graphs here? Now here if I tell you to compare graph A and B, that means for community A and B, so which of them is more richer? Which of them is having more species diversity? See, species diversity, that is very important for any community, right? Okay, any community should have rich species diversity. Okay, now here what we are finding that both the communities, they do have equal number of species, right? But the pattern is different. The relative abundance pattern is different. Okay, so in terms of heterogeneity parameter, which one is more richer? Yes, Aditi Singhal, Durga Kumari, good. Community A, why? Because here we do have more evenness, right? So on the heterogeneity measure, community A wins. Now if I tell you to compare community B and community C, right? So here the pattern is same. Now again, which one is more richer? Which one is more diverse? Yes, Kinjal, Vishal. Out of two, community B and C, which one is more diverse? Yes. Yes, can I get some answers in the chat section? Yes, that's correct, Aditi. Community C. Why? Because the relative abundance pattern is same, but community C is having more number of species. So we have to check with both the parameters, right? Before finding that which of the community will be more diverse. Now, using the same theory, I'm sure you can know that which one of these two graphs will be more richer, will be more diverse. Okay. So that will be the first one. Why? Because the evenness is more, right? So based on this explanation, now let us compare these communities here. So if you will compare all of these four communities and you will check with the relative abundance, foremost you will find, you will realize that C1 and C4, they have same pattern. Okay. They show similarity with each other. So therein, conclusion A should be correct, right? And then just look at the relative abundance. So that is more even for community 4, right? Making community 4 more diverse. So A and D, right? So conclusions A and D are correct. So that is why option 2 is the right answer. So I hope this is clear for everyone. Okay. So like this, you may expect the graph based, diagram based, or table, right? You could be provided with a table like the thing which we had just discussed in this question, right? Where you could be asked about comparing the different communities. Now let us look at our next question, and this is based on Lotka-Volta concept. A tricky concept, right? But this is again important. Okay, so yes, can you tell me, do you know about Lotka-Volta competition model equations? If yes, then try on this question, look at the graph carefully and tell me that which one of the following statement is incorrect. Okay, so use your lifelines. If you know about the concept, second lifeline, you read the question carefully, right? And in the question, it has been asked that which of the following statement is incorrect, right? So you don't need to select the correct option. Rather, you had been asked to choose the incorrect statement. Okay, okay, good. Very good. Sonali, Subrata. Yes, if you know the concept, Sarthak, Purnima. Okay, good to see you here, Debanjan, Kaveri. So I hope everyone is trying. Okay, Kinjal says option 3. Gonu, option 3. Okay, let me see who has answered first. Sahiba Bhalla. Very good. Option 3. Very nice. Durga also comes up with the same answer, option 3. So shall we lock option 3 as the right answer? Is there anyone who doesn't know about Lotka-Volta concept? You need to tell me. Okay, so likewise, we will be going into the explanation, right? Because it is a huge concept to be explained here. But even then, I have included this question to let you know that this part is important. Okay, so while preparing Unit 10, please don't miss on this concept, right? So, yes, your answer is correct. Okay, Sahiba has already said lock it. Locked. Very good, Sahiba. Aditi, option 3, Antara, option 3. Okay, so let us quickly discuss that why option 3 is incorrect. Okay, see, Lotka-Volta model of competition, it conveys the idea that how two species which will be competing with each other will influence the population growth rate for each other, right? Now we know about the exponential and the logistic growth equations. Do we? I hope everyone knows about those two population growth equations. Now here we will start with the logistic equations, right? So in logistic equations, what do we consider? Carrying capacity. So we are considering two species here. I repeat, these are into competition with each other, right? Now, as per the logistic model, we are taking logistic equations, right? Wherein we have considered the carrying capacity for both the species. What is carrying capacity? Anybody? Meanwhile, you answer in the chat section, you type there. Okay, let me take my explanation ahead. So, here, now just let us look at the next step. I'm going to modify these logistic equations here by incorporating some extra terms. And these terms, they are including some coefficients, right? So the coefficients are alpha 1 2 and alpha 2 1, right? Alpha 1 2, this coefficient, it explains the influence of species 2 over 1. And alpha 2 1, it explains the effect of species 1 over 2, right? So definitely when two species will be competing with each other, they will influence each other's carrying capacity. Okay, let me see if anybody has answered what is carrying capacity. Okay, maximum number of individuals in a population. Subrata answers that. Kinjal, maximum capacity. Okay, rate becomes constant at carrying capacity. Okay, so we can say carrying capacity is the maximum limit of the individuals which an environment can sustain for any species, right? Okay, so as per the logistic model, there is a definite limit, right? Okay, and as we had discussed initially, the K selected individuals, K selected organisms, they follow carrying capacity, right? Now, so yes, we were talking about these terms. So we have incorporated them. Why? Because now two species, they will be sharing the sources and thereby they will be reducing each other's carrying capacity. It's just like that if you have 10 apples, right, and you are alone, okay? So you have this opportunity where you can enjoy all the 10 apples here. But if someone else comes in, right, and now you are forced to share these apples with him or her, okay, so your sources are getting reduced, right? Okay, so that what is happening here, two species are into competition, right? So we have incorporated these two competition coefficients, right? So I hope everyone understands this. Now let us move to the next slide. And here, let us look at the state space graphs. This is a very important section of Lotka-Volta model, right? So state space graphs will be drawn. Now what are state space graphs? Here we'll be plotting two species on X and Y axis, right? And we will plot a zero isocline. Now, how we'll get this zero isocline, or what do we mean by zero isocline even? For that, we will be placing these equations equal to 0. Now, why I'll be doing that? Because I am solving these equations at equilibrium. Now, what do I mean by that even? At equilibrium. Equilibrium means dn1 by dt will be equal to 0. The population growth of species 1 will be 0. Let us consider that. Okay. So, we can keep this equation as equal to 0, and therein you can get this equation ahead. Right? Try doing it later. Right? So, you will get this equation, and then you may put n1 as 0, and therein you may get the value of n2. Similarly, you can put n2 as 0 and you may get the value of n1. And then we can plot these values here in the form of the graph. So what is the significance of this graph? This graph is telling us that how one population, right, for one species will change with the increase or decrease of the other species population, right? And how its equilibrium will get changed. So from here, now we may know that what is isocline. Isocline is that line at every point over this line, dn1 by dt is equal to 0. Because remember, this is 0 isocline for species 1. We have obtained this isocline after placing the equation, the logistic equation of species 1 as 0. Right? Likewise, you can do it for species 2. I hope you have understood this. Okay. So at every point over the isocline, dn1 by dt is equal to 0. Right? So this is what our state space graphs. Now let us quickly know that how we can get answer to our question. See, now this is a graph where we are having the isoclines for both the species on the same graph. Okay, now this is the isocline for species 1. This is the isocline for species 2. Now, somewhere you will find that instead of using alpha 1, 2 and alpha 2, 1, alpha and beta they are used, okay, to avoid any confusion. So that what has been done here. We are having alpha and beta, right? Now, I will share a trick. Okay, let me share one trick here. Whenever you are asked about checking the population increase or decrease for any species in particular region, you have to just check whether that region lies below the isocline or above the isocline. Like if I have been asked to check the population here in this area, which I am numbering as 1 here, right? So this area, since this is lying below the isocline for both the species, so the population for both the species will increase here. Whereas the area, which I number as 2, now this is lying outside the isoclines for both the species. So the population for both the species will decline here. But what about this area, which has been formed in between two isoclines? Now, since this area is lying below the isocline of species 1, right? So, species 1 will increase. However, since this is lying above the isocline of species 2, so species 2 will not be able to grow here. Okay? So, species 1 will win. Okay, now compare this graph with the graph which has been given in the question. Right? We have been asked to analyze the pattern at point B. Right? Now just apply the same concept. Since this isocline is lying below, this point is lying below the isocline of species M. Okay, so M will grow, but this region is lying above the isocline of species N. Right? So N will not be able to grow. So this makes the statement at point B, population of species N will increase while that of species M decrease as incorrect. Okay, so like I had mentioned initially that this topic, this concept is huge. So somewhere if I'll get a chance to meet you all in the classes, so we'll learn more about this, because we can have more patterns, right, where the isoclines they could be intersecting. So we could be asked about checking the patterns in that case as well. Okay, but for now, I hope you have understood this concept. So let us quickly move to our next question. Okay, but before that, so there's an announcement to share. Although I hope by now you all know about Lakshya batch. See, all of us are aiming CSIR as our Lakshya, right? However, somewhere in the journey, if you feel that, during your journey towards your Lakshya, if you feel that there is still some ambiguity and uncertainty over some concepts, so don't hesitate to seek expert advice. Okay, so you may reach us through our website or just call us at our toll free number, where you can have access to study portal, you can have unlimited assistance from the experts, right? You may also access smart study tools, and if you will be enrolling now, you will get a free e-copy of Conceptica flowchart book. Okay, so looking forward to see you all. So shall we move ahead? Yes, Sonali, Aditi, Vishal. Yes. Can I get some BIOs in the chat section? Let us keep our Lakshya clear. Okay? We can't afford to have any confusion at this moment. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Vishal. Devanshi, Sahiba, Subrata. Great. So let us look at our next question. Now, this is based on age-sex pyramid, right? So here, 3 age-sex pyramids, they have been shown. And once again, we have been asked that which one of the given statements is incorrect. All right. Let me see who answers this question first. Yes. Great to see that, Debanjan, that you found the classes helpful. Okay, Purnima, thank you. Gonu. All right, so Gonu comes up with the first answer, and the answer is option 2. Very nice, very good. I really appreciate. I'm glad that all of you are actively participating. So I hope you are enjoying the session, right? It's good. It feels good to be a little closer to the nature, right? So see, your answer is correct once again. Well done. And what is the explanation? Pyramid for population C represents a constructive population pyramid, right? Now, this type of pyramid, this is known as constructive pyramid. That is very clear from the graph itself, right? We can see that this is constructed at the base, right? Now, those who don't know about the age-sex pyramid, let me tell you that these are the snapshot of the populations, right? They show how its members, the members of the population, they are distributed among age and sex categories. Okay, see, these are different types of age sex pyramids, right? The first one, it shows rapid growth. Here we can see it is broader at the bottom, right? That means there are more young individuals, right? There are individuals who are either in the reproductive age or they are going to be there soon, right? However, the fraction of the middle aged and the older individuals, that is less. Now just look at the second pyramid, right? Here again, we can see the pattern is almost same as the first one. However, it is not as sharp as the first one. Yes, so the growth is slow. See, this type of pyramid, it shows rapid growth. The fertility is very high. So this kind of pattern, it is found in those countries where the fertility rate is higher and there is less access to the medical facilities. Okay, just like our country, India. Okay, now moving to the third pyramid, right? Here, what we are looking, that more or less the number of individuals, they are same, right? In the younger age groups, in the middle age groups, or in the older age groups. So that means this depicts zero growth, right? Where we can find zero growth pyramid. Can you tell any example for any country having zero growth? which is known to have zero growth these days? Yes, Sahiba. Oh, great to see that, Sahiba. I appreciate that. We are glad. We always feel happy to know that you are finding our classes helpful. That's what. See, I believe all of you are capable, right? All of you do have immense potential, right? But what all you might be lacking is the guidance. Okay. So, therein, we can help you because based on our experience, we can guide you that what all concepts are important, right? Which, what concepts you must be emphasizing on because syllabus is huge. There are 13 huge units. All right. Aditi, you have answered Mexico. No, Mexico, that doesn't have zero growth. Maybe some other example. Austria, Italy, they are known to have zero growth. Okay. All right. Negative growth, constricted. Okay. The one which we are finding in the question. Okay. So Japan these days, it is known to have negative growth. Okay. So I hope this helps with this question. Now let us quickly move to our next question. And this question is based on the life table, right? Now, to be honest, you should select, right? These kind of questions if you are sure about the formulas, right? Because here, what we are finding in this life table, there are some vacant spaces, right? So, you need to fill those vacant spaces, right? To know the net reproductive rate. Right. Now here you could see that in different columns we have been provided with different variables and the value against these variables. Okay, so let me explain that, what all these variables mean. See, like I said, this question is based on life table, right? Now, the population ecologist, they should know that whether the population is shrinking or whether it is expanding. Okay, so they make these studies and they collect all the data in the form of the life table, right? So, life table that usually it starts by collecting the data against the cohort. Cohort, you understand? Group of individuals, right? Okay, which are born at the same time, right? And then all the details about those individuals will be collected. Like here in this example, what we are finding in the first column, usually the age intervals they are placed. However, here it has been taken in the form of the years, right? So this is at the time of the birth, this is 1 year, this is 2 year, likewise. Okay, and in the next column we have taken the individuals. Like here, let us assume that these are 530 squirrels which have been taken, right? Which have been born at one point of time. Now, 159, they survived till 1 year, then 80, they survived to 2 years, and likewise. And none of them it survived to 6 years of age. Okay. Now, in the next column, we have LX. Now, what is LX? Do you understand what LX? LX, it represents the number of individuals surviving to any given age. This is known as survivorship. How we can calculate that? See, 530 by 530, right? So this will give us the value as 1 initially, right? In the next row, 159 by 530, right? So this is the value of LX for the next row. Likewise, you can calculate the LX for all of them. Now, the next variable, dx. What is dx? Dx is the mortality, right? So, how many number of individuals they died? So, how you are going to calculate that? So, 530 minus 159, 371. Likewise, 159 minus 80, 79. Then, the last parameter, mx, fecundity, right? What is fecundity? Average number of female offspring produced per female of age x. Right? So you must know all these variables, how you have to calculate them. Subrata, Deepa, Devanjan, Gonu, Vishal. Are we clear with these? Okay. Now, once you know about these formulas, then you have to apply them in the life table to find the values at the vacant spaces. How we can do this? See, this space was vacant, so was this, right? Now, we have learned that dx that can be calculated by subtracting this value from the previous one, right? Now what we are finding here, that here 10 has been given, right? So therein we can guess that here it should be 30. Okay, so 30 minus 20 should be 10. So 50 minus 30, it will come as 20. Similarly, 20 minus 10, it will come as 10. Lx, how we have to calculate Lx? 100 by 100, 1. Right? 50 by 100, 0.5. 30 by 100, 0.3. Similarly, you can calculate others. Mx that has been provided. Now the next step will be to calculate Lx into Mx. Okay, so you will calculate the product here, right, for these two columns, right? And then final step will be, we have to take the total of all the values for Lx and Mx. So this is summation of Lx, Mx. This is our reproductive rate. So this is defined as the average number of females that will be produced during a lifetime by a newborn female. Why? Because remember, Mx, fecundity rate, was the average number of female offspring produced per female of age X. Okay, so this is the reason I had mentioned that if you are clear with the concept, if you know about the formulas well, only then you must select these kind of questions. Very nice. Vishal, Gonu, I can see that you have already answered 0.7. That is the right answer. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Please take down all these details as well, how you can interpret the pattern of the population based on the values of R0. Now let us quickly move to our next question. Now this question is based on the patterns of dispersants. Those who don't know, this is about patterns of dispersion. Population characteristics, the parameters which are worked upon by the population ecologist, those are population size, population density, patterns of dispersion, right? Then age sex ratios, and finally the growth, right? So we have learnt about growth equations. We have discussed one question based on that, age sex pyramid, and now this is about patterns of dispersion. Yes, Durga Kumari. Yes, can you let me know the answer? Kaveri. Debanjan. Yes. What should be the right answer? Okay. Kaveri has already come up with the correct answer. That should be option 2. Why? Patterns of dispersion. What does it indicate? How the individuals belonging to a population, they are spaced, right? Relative to each other, right? So that means whether they have been spaced randomly, uniformly, that means evenly, or clumped. They are showing the clumped pattern. Okay, so this figure will help you to understand what do I mean by these three different types of dispersion patterns. Okay, now to know from the data where mean and variance values are given, that whether a population will have random, uniform, or clump patterns, you can use this formula, right? This is very simple. You have to just apply this formula, right? This is an index of dispersion, right? Take the variance value, take the mean value, and calculate this ratio. That's it. As simple as that. Now find out whether that value is equal to 1, or whether that is greater than 1, or whether that is lesser than 1. Okay. And then you can just apply these rules here. Okay. And that is where we can solve for these three spaces given based on the value of variance and mean. And our right option will be the one which states that species A shows random distribution, B shows uniform, and C shows clumped. Yes? Has it been clear? I hope after explanation you are finding the questions easier. I hope the explanation helps. That is why I'm repeating on this thing. Conceptual knowledge is very necessary. Okay, because the questions which will be based on the concepts, they have to comply to the known facts. They have to comply to the formulas. Okay, so there are very less chances that you may go wrong. Always try selecting those questions in the exam. Okay, very good, Mahima Asthana. Good to see that things are getting crystal clear for you. Now, let us quickly look at our next question. Question number 7. Let me give you a hint. This question is based on the trophic cascade. Top down or bottom up concept. So those who know about this concept, I'm sure they'll be able to come up with the right answer. So use your first line. Try to recall that concept. Use your second lifeline. Read the question carefully. Third, analyze all the options. Fourth, don't hurry while selecting the right answer. Yes. Can I get some responses in the chat section? Quickly. We are short of time. But I'm sure you'll be having enough time in the exam. Okay. So always try attempting the question the way I have suggested. I hope you will remember these lifelines. Okay. Subrata, you have mentioned that whether can I zoom it? See, uh, on that note, let me explain this here. Okay, that will help you to understand the question and to know the right answer. Like I said, this question is based on the top down control. Right now, what do we mean by top down control? See, we do have different trophic levels. Okay, like in the marine ecosystem, these are the different trophic levels. Right at the bottom, we do have phytoplanktons, then zooplanktons, then small fishes, and then large fishes. Okay, so the fishes which are at this level, at this trophic levels, these are known as piscivorous fishes. Why? Because they eat upon the fishes. Okay, so fish eaters. These are fish eaters. Right? Now, top down effect says that if any of the trophic level that will be the individuals which are present at one trophic level, they will be reduced or they will be increased. So the effect will flow down till bottom. And how the effect will flow, right? What will be the pattern? See, if I say the piscivorous fishes, they have been increased in population. So what will happen? Definitely, if the fishes, the fish eaters, they have been increased. So the small fishes, they will decrease, right? Zooplanktons, they will increase, and the phytoplanktons, they will decrease. So this is what we know as top-down control. Right? So this is based on the predators, the effect which comes from the predators, and it flows from top till bottom. Right? Now, similarly, we have another effect which is known as bottom up control. Here, the effect will come from the bottom because here more nutrients will be added at the bottom. Okay, now let me suppose that I am adding more nutrients here. Right? The same has been mentioned in the question as well, right? We are adding more nitrates or let us say phosphates. So what will happen? The growth of phytoplanktons will increase. Zooplanktons will also increase. Small fishes will also increase. And so will be the predators. Okay. So this is known as the bottom up control. Are we clear with this? Okay. So now if I go back and show you the question, it has been asked that in one case, piscivorous fishes, they have been introduced, okay, into lake 1. Whereas in lake 2, nutrients, they have been added, right? So you have to check that what effect they will come, they could be seen in the trophic levels, at other trophic levels. All right. Okay. So here is the explanation. This is based on the top down and the bottom up effect. This is one of the important topics. Please try to cover this, right, while preparing Unit 10 for CSIR. Now let us move to our next question. Subrata, I hope this is clear. Mahima, I'm sure this should be clear for you. Okay. Now, see, this question is based on the MacArthur and Wilson's equilibrium model. Very interesting concept. Yes, are you all able to look at the graph? I'm sure. Yes, can you type yes in the chat section? Quickly. Just look at the graph and you have to simply tell that what do A, B, C, D they indicate in this graph. Yes? Okay, Sahiba says option 2. Okay, Subrata also says option 2. Great. Very nice. Yes, the right answer is option 2. Shall we lock it? Yes. Very good. So, what you are going to get in return? Confidence. That matters. All of you must have confidence. Okay, so like the way we are solving the questions here. Okay, so you should keep say the confidence as same as you are having it right now while taking your exam. Okay, so this question is based on the MacArthur and Wilson equilibrium model, right? And here we need to know about two important relationships: species area and species distance relationship, right? Now, what are these relationships and how they can be understood through this graph, right? This is about the species richness. Now, there are two parameters: immigration, that means colonization, and extinctions, right? And then species, the area of the island, and the distance of the island. Okay, whether that island is lying closer to the mainland or whether it is lying farther from the mainland. Right now, here, island that refers to any ecosystem which has been isolated. Okay, it could be a lake in the desert, it could be a mountain peak. So, always remember that the islands which will be closer to the mainland, right, they will be having more chances of immigration. They'll be having more chances for colonization. That makes sense, right? More number of individuals they'll be able to reach those islands from the mainland. Okay, so the immigration will always remain higher on the closer islands, right? And the extinction, that will always remain higher on the smaller island. So this is known as the species area and species distance relationship. This talks about the species richness again. So, how we can conclude with these two relationships? This is the conclusion. Please take down this if you don't know about it. Very good, Sonali. This is definitely related to island biogeography, right? Remember, the species richness will remain higher on the islands which are closer, which are larger in size as compared to the islands which are distant or which are smaller in size. Okay. Now, let us move to our next question. This is based on the relationship between species diversity and the disturbance. Right? So, the possible relationship between levels of disturbance and species diversity in a biological community. How we can relate the graphs with the given interpretations. You have to match them with each other. Yes, Sahiba, that's correct. Deepa, Mahima, Devanshi, Vishal. Yes. What will be the right answer? We need to be quick here. I give you a hint. This question is based on the intermediate disturbance hypothesis. Very good, Vishal. Very nice. Kaveri, Aditi. Yes. Option 4 is the right answer. Subrata, Gonu, Mahima. Very nice. So this is based on intermediate disturbance hypothesis, right? Where we must know that the general form of the relationship between species diversity and frequency of disturbance is a curve. with maximum diversity at intermediate frequency. Right? Now, what do we know? What how we can understand this explanation? See, this is a graph where we have been shown with some hypothetical species. Okay. And we are checking them at different frequency of disturbances. Now, what do we mean by disturbance? Ecological disturbance. That can be natural, right? Or that can be because of the artificial reasons like deforestation. Okay. Or that could be natural, like I said, that could be flood, right? Or forest fires. So what will happen if the frequency of disturbance will be high, right? If the disturbances, they will be very frequent, so the species diversity will remain low. Why? Because the late successional species, they might not be able to get the chance to grow. Okay. And if the disturbance, that will be very low, that means the time interval between the ecological disturbance, that will be very large. So what will happen? The late successional species, they will emerge themselves as the most dominant species, and they'll not allow the early species to grow. Okay. So always remember that this is at the intermediate frequency of disturbance that we are going to find the maximum species diversity. Okay. Kabita, Ram, Sonali, Saiba, Mahima, I hope you got the explanation, right? So where do we have this graph? Here in our question. Okay. And this you have to match with the interpretation which has been given in option B. Yes, Kabita, Ram Gupta, I could see that you have given the right answer. Devanshi, Subrata, Diti. Okay, very good. Now let us move to our last question of today's session. Now this is again based on a very interesting concept. We have been given with 3 graphs, and you have to once again check that what could be the right interpretation for this graph, the graphs given in the question. Yes. Yes. What should be the answer, Sahiba, Kabita? Yes. Can we get some quick answers there? What kind of relationship do you think these two species they are sharing with each other? Very nice. Gonu has come up with the quickest answer. Sahiba, look at the question once again. See, in the question, it has been given that these species, when they were grown separately, right? So these graph curves were observed. But when they were grown collectively, so this graph was observed. So what kind of relationship do you think that they will be sharing with each other? Okay, like when M and O were grown together, when N and O were grown together, or M and N were grown together. Okay, so how do you visualize these graphs? What interpretations you can make? See, so the option 3 is the right answer. Those who have come up with option 3, that is the correct answer. Very nice. And see, this represents the oscillation, right? Oscillation pattern between prey and predator. So that is correct. N and O, that is very obvious from the graph, since they are showing oscillation growth pattern, right? So they possibly have a prey predator relationship. Okay, this is important. Okay, no issues, Sahiba. I hope you are following the explanation. See, this is very easy to be understood. When the prey population will rise, right? The predators, they will have some, good chances to get more amount of prey to eat upon, right? But with time, the population of prey will start declining because their reproduction may not be able to cope up with the predation pressure, right? So the prey population will start declining, right? So here we can see the prey population is declining. But what about the predator? right? Predator will survive for some time, because now the prey, they are getting weaker, and predator, they have more chances to get more number of prey, right? But after some time, the predator population will also start declining, right? Because the prey population has already reduced to some significant levels. So this will keep on happening, right? So both of them, they will show an oscillation pattern. However, remember that predator decline, that will be lagging behind the decline for the prey population, right? So I hope this explanation is helpful to understand these graphs. So you enjoyed solving these questions? You enjoyed the discussion? You found the explanation helpful? Yes, can I get some yes in the chat section? Mazaya, I hope you enjoyed it. See, now let us end our today's session with this beautiful quote which says, all the problems are stuck between the mind and matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Okay? So, like I said earlier, just as you have solved these questions here, right, with fun, okay, you all are supposed to take your exam in the similar way, right? Just shed off all of your worries, be relaxed, right? Stay cheerful, stay happy, and stop worrying and start acting. And somewhere, if you feel that we may help you, okay, so remember, we are just a call away. So all the best for your exam and all for your future endeavors, and don't miss to attend the next RRR session. Take care, everyone. Good night.